Hey folks, man, this is Cory, and we're back with another episode of Classics of Cinematics. And this is the podcast. I would say show, because this ain't a podcast, man. This is only available on the From the Canopy Podcast YouTube channel. So subscribe. But yeah, so we're here to talk about classic films and it's spooky season. So we're going to spend this month, maybe a little bit more talking about, horror films. And today we got up the classic, cult classic Creepshow, which is interesting, man. It's kind of, I don't know. I feel like this thing was done. It's an anthology for sure. So there's about 5 stories that it covers. And this is kind of based on the old EC Comics run. Yeah. Back in the day, those horror stories. Did they do Tales from the Crypt? I think.
I want to say they did. Yeah. Like just the Creepshow and Tales from the Crypt, the comic books almost ran parallel.
Oh, so Creepshow was actually a comic.
It was a comic.
Oh, yes. Okay, that's cool. And because I think some of these stories are from that comic, and some of them are, original ideas. And it's an interesting collaboration. This is directed by George A. Romero, and it's co-written with him and Stephen King.
Yeah, man.
And Stephen King actually pops up in one of the stories, man.
Yep.
But it's crazy just rewatching it. The first thing I noticed is this thing is done in a very campy, over the top way. Like it probably is only going to really scare like really young children, like it did me when I was a kid and I first saw it. Like that opening sequence with the the kid throwing away the comic books, and then that is that the Crypt Keeper or a variation of it?
I don't want to call him the Crypt Keeper because that's like from Tales from the Crypt. But it's I think they call him the Creep.
Yeah. And he had a weird look. I remember seeing that as a kid, and he's like,
But him and the Crypt Keeper look like they could be cousins. You know what I mean? They have a very similar look.
But I definitely watched this when I was younger, and it did spook me out. But watching it later as I got older, you see like it's not totally very scary. It's really goofy, man. It's really goofy horror. It's more fun, kind of like this plays well in a group of people where you can kind of, poke fun at it and just, have fun in the moments that it presents.
It definitely it keeps with the campiness. Like it's not, like you said, I mean, it has its horror element, but it's almost like extremely lighthearted. You know what I'm saying? Like there are points through every story where they're telling jokes. I mean, shit, as we'll get into it later, one of the most serious stories, the lead roles are Ted Danson and Leslie Nielsen, who were comedians at that time. It's like the most serious story out of the 5 that we watched. So I think that they did a really good job in keeping with the the fun nature that they were trying to present while doing this film all the way through.
Well, let's get into it, man. Well, I guess we'll break it down by the scenes, and it's kind of convenient that it's different stories, and they're not very long. There's 5 stories packed into this. It runs at about 2 hours, which is a little bit longer than something from that era. Usually you expect 90 minutes for most horror films, but I guess because of the the amount of stories that they packed into it. But the first thing we do get is an intro, which I thought was interesting, kind of setting up the whole thing. We get introduced to the little kid that this thing is playing out through. Basically, his dad comes into the room. His dad's mean,
mean dude.
It's great.
Like, what the hell?
This is great. I feel bad for that kid.
You can tell he hates his job. He hates his wife. He hates his life. He hates everything. I mean, he's ripping on him just for having a comic book. So like, why are you reading this trash, garbage nonsense? You
know what? That actually makes sense to me, because there was a time in the country where somebody had wrote a book. I forgot the author. I read this. I listened to this audio book about. I think it was called the 10 Cent Plague. Yeah, that's what they were calling, because at the time there was like a big movement. They had congressional hearings about the images and the pictures in comic books, and I think EC was in the center of that for these very horror books. So it feels like the dad in this is taken into that, and the mom, she doesn't really have much. She's kind of, his dad is so overbearing.
He seems very submissive. He's calling all the shots.
Yeah, he has his impressions.
He's pouring beer in his whiskey glass that probably has whiskey in it. He's drinking a Boilermaker at 7 on a Wednesday.
Yeah, he's not no teetotaler, man.
No, man.
And it's funny because this kid is clearly into all this stuff. You look at the posters on his wall. I thought that was really well done. And he's into this stuff. And then so the dad, I don't even know why the dad goes up there, to be honest. I mean, is it Halloween or is it close to Halloween? I see pumpkins in the window, you know, like
it looks like he goes up there once his buzz starts kicking in.
Oh yeah,
and then he's just because I mean, and then you watch the kid like he sees how to placate the dad, like the dad's bashing on him, yelling, and he's like, "I'm sorry, Dad, just don't throw my book away.
Yeah.
I promise I'll be good."
This is a weird scene though. He sees the creep. The kid is seeing the creep, and almost and there's a look of joy on his face.
Yeah,
like out his window. That's so creepy. Now that I'm looking at this, and the kid's like, "Oh, you know, that's my buddy." I guess from the books that he loves and he reads. That's crazy.
It is like it's cool because that also like it kind of shows us as viewers like use your imagination with these because it's really setting the tone that we're going to have these far-fetched stories and none of this is to be taken serious. I mean, use your imagination. But I also thought it was really cool that because this was like adapted from graphic novels or comic books and things of that nature, how it goes from like movie setting to almost like animation. Like I thought that was really cool, really cool.
Because throughout the movie they'll throw some comic book frames around some of the scenes and stuff, and little drawings of the characters and some of the stories and stuff. So that is really cool. Like each story begins with a drawing and ends with a drawing. And that's cool. But looking at the kid, going back to him, like the joy in his face, it sets us up for what to expect. Like this is not going to be that trying to scare you. This is like the fun aspect of it, of horror. Something like Monster Squad or something like that, where it's definitely could be considered horror, but it's more done in the fun way of it. Like the only horror thing about it is the monster and the situations, but it's not scary films per se.
It's not set out to give you nightmares. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those ones where like if you got cool parents or moms like how me and you had, like they'll let us sit down and watch it. They're not worried about like, man, this is gonna fuck you up mentally. It's like I said, it's lighthearted horror. You know what I mean? In the best way possible.
So let's get into this first story. So we get Father's Day, and pretty much a vengeful spirit returns from the grave. And this was kind of interesting. We got a couple people. I guess the most notable cast that we've got on here is what's my man's name?
Ed Harris, right?
Yeah, Ed Harris. Yeah. There's some other people in here from other stuff in the 70s, but I think he's probably the biggest one that went on to do stuff.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely.
So pretty much this family, they're rich. I guess they're millionaires or whatever, but just listen to the setup and the rumors.
Certified snobby.
It's implied that one of the daughters in the family, or the I guess the aunt. So it would be the dead millionaire's sister. Basically killed him. They're spreading a rumor, and we're not for sure, but then later on we get a scene where it is confirmed that she took him out, but he was also such a mean dude, and she was mean. She was taking care of him at one point in his time, but he was just insufferable, just one of those mean, like banging,
always banging the cane. And not for nothing, I got a fucking serious ass sweet tooth, but this motherfucker comes back from the dead because he wants that cake. Like just regular ass cake. Like I mean, and you see throughout like the whole film, like it's like they're using almost the him wanting the cake as a metaphor. It's like I don't think it's really about the cake. It's about you bow down and you come at my beck and call. You do whatever it is that I want you to do when I want you to do it. Because without me, none of y'all are gonna get to live this life, this pristine, upscale, snooty ass life that they're living. And I mean, as you see this story progress, like they all kind of have a certain level of self-entitlement due to that financial status that they have,
and I'm pretty sure his dickiness rubs off, man. It's kind of messed up, even though they don't like how he's treating them. I'm pretty sure they end up treating other people in their lives like that.
Exactly.
And I guess we find out that the sister stands up to him one day. It's a Father's Day, 7 years before the events in this this vignette, and it's crazy. She stands up to him, hits him with an ashtray, and he's dead. Like he's done. So they bury him, and it seems like everyone's lives are a bit better. Everyone gets their money. They're living good. They still, and it's weird because in a way she's kind of become she's replaced this guy in a way, because that made her bitter, having to do that, and now she's the kind of the insufferable
matriarch of the. But
it is funny too how this film depicts drinking a lot. Like we get the father in the intro, he's drinking, she's drinking, being an asshole. Someone else later is going to be drinking, and I'm wondering, this is weird the way this is written. Maybe I don't know. I got to look into the dates and the times. I think maybe this reaches into some parts of Stephen King's life a little bit and his relationship with alcohol.
But you know, it's a testament to like her character in this story as well, because I mean, not only you took him out, you did what you had to do because you felt it had to be done, but then it shows that she, ritualistically every Father's Day comes back to his grave to sit and crush a fifth of Jim Beam or whatever it is that she's drinking and almost like rub it in, like it gives her some kind of like self-gratification, like knowing that I took you out, and it's like what kind
it
of
makes me wonder if we
got
the full picture of that of the father in a way too, because we only saw that scene of him being a dick, but I don't know. But has them taking care of them, these kind of freeloaders, has that made him this way? I mean, and it kind of
when you look at her, I mean, she looks like a troubled individual. Like she does not look happy. What I'm saying? And I don't think it's all just because she's swimming in the sauce all the time. I think that
I think just like I said, I feel like a lot of what he was doing to her rubbed off, and now she's doing it. Now she's kind of become him in a lot of way towards his family. Like now she's the one that they don't really like to come around.
Yeah, they're like, oh, Aunt Betty's coming. Fuck that. But she's probably gonna go rubbing some shit at the grave before she comes over here, and then she's gonna be plastered by the time she gets here.
It's funny too, because she ends up spilling her fifth, and it soaks into the ground. And one later on that night, it's interesting. I forgot who gets it first. Is it like a cemetery keeper or a groundskeeper?
It's her.
Oh,
like she spills her fifth, and then like she sees him reach out the ground. He's like, the cake.
Yeah, my bad. But then later on, someone else
then it's Ed Harris.
The tombstone falls on her head.
That's Ed Harris.
Yeah, because I guess he goes to check on her. And
it's funny because right before that all happens, like before he gets sent to the graveyard to look for the aunt, like they're like grooving, listening to music, and I mean Ed Harris is like he's straight jamming, like you see my man, he rolling. I was like, yeah, go ahead and get it, Ed Harris. You know what I'm saying? Don't put no wrinkles in that flannel though. That was funny as shit. But then he ends up going to go check on the aunt and stuff. He falls in the grave. Yeah. And then
the tombstone
pushed on.
I will say this though, that zombie looks really good though. This is really one of the best ones. It kind of looks like the zombie from Zombie, the cover, the one that's on the cover. That dry, dusty instead of the wet and gooey.
I mean, and the thing of it is, like, I mean, when you look and you see all like, it almost looks like the moss or the dry rot, the ground is like in like the eyes, casket, in the skull,
the casket got compromised. And the dirt just mixed into
very, very good on the fucking on the special effects, the graphics, and everything.
It's raggedy. They did a good job. So it eventually
there's that. My man is serious.
So basically, after that, he goes into the house and kills everybody. And I thought this was enjoyable. It's a good way to open it. It's not the best thing, but it sets the tone, of what it does. Like I said, it is, maybe that zombie could be striking, looking to some people, but it's not, that really serious, like, even the music is cheese, the music that they back these scenes with. So they're having fun with it, man. It definitely sets the tone, man.
Absolutely. And, another thing that I think that kind of helps, really amplify the lightheartedness is whenever something really, what would be considered scary or, monumental, horrifying in these stories happen, they almost go in comic book mode. Like, it's almost like with the old school Batman where you see the zap, wow, bam, like they put somebody in a frame and then there's animation around it and stuff.
So it kind of like put a lot of those effects into it.
It kind of pulls away from the creepiness element as well.
So he goes in, he gets everybody, and pretty much, I guess, I don't know if he gets his cake, but he gets a lot of revenge.
Oh, he makes a cake out of the other sister, or I don't know if his daughter or sister, but he makes out of her head, puts candles in it and everything. So he's like, I got my cake. And I got my cake. See, look at that. They put all the
it's definitely silly, man. Is that the girl from looks like the one from Halloween, but I'm not sure. I don't think so. I have to look it up. But let's go into the next story, which is probably one of my favorites, man.
I was about to say the same thing.
The lonesome death of Jordy Verille. Let's just introduce here. And this one as a kid, like it blew my mind because I was watching this and I was like, all right, and it just intrigued me, man. Because even at that age, I was loving space stuff, and this is dope. You know, a meteor crashes to the earth, and this guy out in the sticks, I guess his name is
Jordy Verille.
Jordy Verille. He finds this thing. And it's like a meteor. There's stuff oozing out of it, and you know it's hot. It just hit into the ground, and he picks it up and takes it home. Yo, it's so crazy how Stephen King is playing this role.
And that's what I was gonna say. And it's acted by Stephen King, and this is probably the most on-screen time we've ever gotten from him. And I mean, in the way he absorbed this role, and like, I mean, he really gives 100%
in a way, but he's definitely goofy as hell.
Goofy as shit.
It's definitely, like you said, like that campy nature of this whole film.
Like this is one of those ones where it's like you don't know if you want to feel slightly scared, intrigued by what's going on, or just want to laugh at him by his demeanor as a whole. You know,
it's definitely silly. It's definitely that slapstick, and his reactions are just on some. It reminds me of damn Three Stooges, or like his just that really over the top pantomiming and just goofiness, man. But what's great about it is you know, so that even that part was funny. You just touched this rock right out the ground, and you didn't like you know that thing's
the wherefore to suck your fingers out.
Yeah, so he puts it in a bucket, takes it to I guess his scientist friend, and they look at it.
Now he's imagining this. He's like, ooh, I can get some money, and it's funny because dude, he's like, yeah, man, I'm gonna get rich off this. He was like, I'm not taking nothing less than $200.
That's it.
Like,
that's not rich.
Fuck?
So okay, so this was all in his head. All right, so basically, he's imagining he's getting paid, but he takes this thing home, and what's crazy about it is I believe he touches it. Yes, so wherever he got burned and touched, man, there's a weird effect. Like you see them little bumps in his head. They look like you could mistake them for burn blisters, but just the shape of them looks a little weird. It feels like it would be a hole, you know. And but that's his fingertips, and basically he's gotten infected by this crazy meteor rock that seems to be whatever is touching. It's becoming a plant, like the radiation coming off of it, the stuff, and you just start seeing this guy. He starts going through this weird metamorphosis, man.
Well, and the thing is too, like as part we just saw, like I mean, obviously, and it shows like he's really like I think he did a really good job at giving this. It's almost like that Beverly Hillbilly impression that the world had of individuals that like living in these kind of environments more, like I don't know. I don't want to say like something like out like farmers.
I mean, in a way, honestly, man, like I could see how this could be like looked at as offensive in these days. It's kind of
absolutely
doing a parody of these type of people and making them like
making them seem like
that's fucking
like just not all the way with it.
Like he's like a hick. He's like a hick in the worst way.
Super duper, but also just very unintelligent and like I mean just a like almost a dweeb in a sense. But so I mean he has the bright idea after this thing just fell out of fucking space. After you touch it, it burns your fingers. Oh, I'm gonna go ahead and throw some cold water on it.
I'm gonna touch this stuff.
It busts open. If my man, he looks at it, he's like, ew, meteor shit.
Shit's glowing and oozing. Like I don't know, bro. If you want to touch that.
Like in his mind, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna just dump out this meteor goo and put these things in this bucket. And keep it
they was definitely using all the glow sticks to make.
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah, so he basically takes it, and then what's one thing that's cool about this too is that I like about this is just the metamorphosis is that radiation and that plant. Like you see it from the site of the meteorite. The vegetation starts growing up in this really bright green, funky looking grass and bushes. And then his fingers and hands, where he touched it, those blisters start turning green and shit's growing out of him. And it slowly just starts taking over his body. And even then, like you said, now that I'm thinking about it, all these little vignettes of him going to see these guys, this is his imagination. And he's thinking the worst in here, like he's imagining, oh man, we're gonna have to amputate or this and that. So he's like, oh, which probably would have saved him, dude, if he gave up those two fingers.
Yeah, at the end of the day, like you see, like he doesn't even have the wherewithal to actually go to the hospital. He just wants to sit and imagine all this stuff. And continue watching wrestling.
Yeah,
you know.
And what's crazy is like he's doing other shit. So wherever he's touched himself or like his mouth that starts
he has
going
that weird
green.
habit of sucking his fingers and shit.
And then it's
like, just, you did it now, Johnny Verille.
He's so nuts, man. But and oh man, I love the progression of this one. Like I feel like this one could benefit from a remake or a redo if they did like an episode of the new series and just revisited the story just with the special effects and stuff that they could do. But it gets worse, man. This stuff starts growing all over him. Basically, he's becoming a plant, dude, and it gets bad. And like what was interesting, it starts coming in his house. Everything that he's touching, like the walls, the couch.
I mean, like I said, in essence, it's almost like it's taking over. What do they? It's like almost like a weed or something. Where it's growing uncontrollably. You know what I mean?
And what I like too is they keep cutting back to outside, where now his whole property is being infested by this vegetation. It's great, man. There's one part where we cut away, and when we come back, he's pretty much a full-on plant. I think it's when he's watching the news and they give him the local farm report. He's listening to them read off the stock numbers, and he's sitting there, and he's gone, dude. Like this stuff is all over him, and he's pretty much just a plant. And sadly, this probably has the darkest ending, man. Like, yo, that's crazy. He turns on the faucet, and the plant juice is coming out of the faucet because it's so
earlier on. You know, he makes a reference about how he don't have no luck. He's like, there's only one kind of luck I have. It's spelled BAD. You know, and then at the end when he just wants to, he doesn't want to go through that shit no more. I mean, he's pretty much all the way, a plant, like you said. And then, like, you hear him in this weird, creepy voice. He's like, hey, please let me just do this right. And he's just pretty much making sure that, when he pulls the trigger, like, he hits whatever could take him out. It's like, damn. Like I said, like, you don't know if you, like, this is the most laughable one on here, but there's a part where it just really pulls heavy on the heartstrings a little bit. Like, damn, feel bad for this dude. You know
he basically shotguns himself in the head, and that's it. And it's just crazy. I'm looking around like these plants. It's crazy too, because some of it looks like weed. Like right here, like, this is some space weed,
right?
And it's crazy. The sun comes up the next day.
And it's trippy because when you hear the news report, they're like, oh yeah, man, we're going to get rain. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be green season. Everything's going to be great. I mean, and you see this dude's farm that went pretty much from like, almost looked like the Sandlot to, I mean, probably the most lush,
that's
lavish
my favorite
grass
part of this, like,
everywhere.
That last part is like, you see this stuff, it's pretty much going to take over the whole everything. It's like it's taking over his property. It's spreading out, dude. And I guess, like, that's this. Where is he at though? Portland 37, Boston 188. Those are so distinctly different
but then in classic Stephen King fashion, he always throws Castle Rock in there. If you notice, a lot of his stories.
Boston isn't no 100, and wherever they were at, those numbers were weird, dude. That was crazy. But that was cool, man. Just the whole setup. That's one of my favorite. I
love that one. I could watch that one 1,000 times over, man.
Then we get, like you said, the more serious one. So this one, what's the name of this one?
Oh, Something to Tide You Over. No pun intended.
This one probably might be the most star-studded one, though. So we get a Ted Danson here, Leslie Nielsen. Ted Danson appears to be having an affair with Leslie Nielsen's wife, and he finds out, and he decides to get revenge. So basically, he accosts Ted Danson, brings him to a beach. Makes him dig a hole, and he jumps in and buries him up to the neck on the beach.
Not for nothing. I love the like the 80s tough guy, because when Leslie Nielsen just shows up at his door, Ted Danson opens the door, and Leslie Nielsen, instinctively puts his foot in the door, and Ted Danson decides to tell him, he's like, I bench 300 pounds. I could really hurt your foot right now. Like,
oh man,
what, bro? That's the best you can come up with right now in this situation.
Man, sometimes you try to deter a fight. That's where it starts. You put the warning out. Don't cross this line. But so Leslie gets him. It's interesting. Buries him up to his neck and puts a TV in the beach.
But you see,
and it's crazy because is this the same TV that ends up at the beach?
I think it is. And that's the other thing too. Like, there's this certain level of arrogance that Ted Danson's character has up until he actually gets into the hole. Like, you know, he knows that what he was doing was wrong. He knows who Leslie Nielsen's character is, but like the whole time when he's in his apartment, even when he's riding with him, he's like, man, bro, I don't give a fuck, you know, whatever. And he has this like this certain arrogance where
everybody talk to that hammer come out.
Yeah. But you know, funny thing too, when I was watching this earlier before we did the show, thing that made me laugh, you know, Ted Danson, he never looks scared until he's in the hole. The first thing that you see when he got fear in his eyes, when that crab comes up and all he has is his head out. He's like, oh, get the crab. Scary, it's like, but I get that. But you weren't scared when the dude who's the husband of the woman you've been sleeping with showed up at your house, came into your apartment, pulled the hammer out on you. He was
posturing, you know.
Put you in a hole. In a beach, none of that was scary. You're like, nah, man. You know,
it's scary, but it's not in a way that's gonna make you be like, oh, you know, that's a whole different level, dude.
And my thing
is, creepy crawly, like you burn up to your neck, and someone put even a harmless ball python next to your head, you're gonna feel a way. You're gonna be.
I do a special kind of if a spider touches me, you know, everyone who knows me knows. You know what I'm saying? I don't want no bugs touching me, so I get it. But I mean, my thing is Leslie Nielsen gives him the opportunity, like when he pulls the gun out, he's like, "Oh man, get in the hole, I'm gonna kill you." You don't know, man. Hey man,
I gotta fight, dude. That's what I've been told.
But like, how do you fight when
you just gotta fight
neck
like,
deep in the hole?
I'm saying before that, like
that's what I'm saying. When he's like, when we're riding in the Jeep, like, and he just thinks everything's good, man. I'm gonna hit you with that swift jab so quick.
Someone pull out the gun and say, "Come with me, run."
Bro,
that might be Jeffrey Dahmer saying, "Come with me," or that might be a Ted Bundy.
I mean, shit, they riding in a Jeep that don't have no doors. Push him out. Put your seatbelt on. Push him out.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. I think part of this too is like Danson didn't really know his intentions, and you know he didn't know about the gun, so he figures I'm a big guy. I could take care of myself. If worse come to worse, I'm gonna hear him out. Maybe he's just going to confront me and tell me to you know stay away. Well, anyway, we get the situation. He buries him, and it's interesting. He puts a TV on the beach while he's, you know, he shows, I guess, a videotape of the of his wife that he had an affair with, and he shows her buried up to her neck. So and it gets really weird.
Like the puns, like he's like, "I promise you come with me, you'll see her," and that was his way of letting him see her. It's like by putting that TV out, like, "Oh, she's in the same situation as you."
So basically, Ted's gonna die, and like he gives him, he's like, well, maybe if you hold your breath, you know, when the tide comes in, you'll make it out. And basically, too, his incentive to try to get out is maybe he can get to her and keep her from drowning as well. But it doesn't go well, man. He ends up dead. But what's interesting here is we get the crab and all that. But what's interesting is later on we see my man Leslie Nielsen chilling. And he's in the house minding his business. Dude, like, he
goes to the house to watch footage of them dying. Yeah, like this is probably one of the most like sinister roles I've ever seen him play. I mean, and it worked well because it was him. You know, at this time with him being, like I said, you know, the Naked Gun and all that stuff going on, but like. You have to be a
I don't think we got Naked Gun before that.
Yeah, I think
like we might have got like Airplane. I think So he was definitely already doing comedy stuff.
Yeah, but he's so sinister and sadistic, and then like to come home, pour yourself a drink, like and then just like watch them die. And
the crazy part though is I'm watching this. Her thing is already going down. Like the tide's already coming in and out on her. She's getting, she's already dealing with that.
That's the thing. Hold your breath.
So the thing about this though, when I think about it for EC Comics, they did have those crime pulp, stories, and I think that's where a story like this will come from. You know, those kind of stories where sort of like Pulp Fiction, even with you know the Marcellus Wallace and Mia Wallace. You know, taking the wife's daughter out. The boss's girlfriend out, and something bad happens, you know. So this is kind of feel like this would be in one of those kinds of books, but it's crazy, man. So, you know, he's basically watching her die, and then his time's coming. And then, what's interesting, he's watching all this right from his beach property. I didn't know he was right there, like his house is right there. So he's chilling in the house, man, and you know he gets this weird knock,
But you know, right before that. it's like the one time throughout this whole story you actually kind of feel like he might have a conscience, because he, like, after I guess he falls asleep for a little bit, wakes up, and then he starts trying to convince himself, oh, the tide washed them out. Like they were able to break free once the water came. They broke free. It's all good. It's like his way of convincing himself that you didn't just do some old scumbag type shit and just drown 2 people in the beach.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's gone, bro.
And like it's almost like you sit there and watch him try to cleanse his conscience, and then moving to your point, you know what I'm saying? Get the knock at the door.
yeah. Basically, he's got some visitors. So Ted Danson and the wife have come back seemingly from the grave. It's weird how they look, yo. It's funny. I mean, it is a good effect on here, the way they do look on here. I'll give them kudos for that. But the level of blue, decomposition is too quick. Like this is happening, you know, within the course of a day, you know, a few hours. Maybe you got a little bit of the wildlife chewing on them, you know what I'm saying?
And they have like leaves, like sea moss and shit. Like,
I do feel like this segment might have been drawn out a little bit too long. You know,
it was this. I think this is the longest story of all.
Yeah, it is. It is. And for what it gives us, I feel like you could have probably wrapped this up a little. Maybe cut down on all those extra shots of the beach and drawing that out. And then, like, just as I was fast forwarding, all of that stuff where he's in his apartment chilling and he's not saying anything or interacting with anyone. But yeah, so they roll up on him. He tries to pull his gun out. That's not saving him.
It's a good shot, though. I mean,
that's
headshot out the gate.
That's right close, though. They close. But yeah, and basically that's his fate, man. This is one of those ones that, you know, they got him, and he's kind of talking, and now he's got the puns. It's showtime.
Right. Hold your breath.
Yeah. But they look pretty good. I don't know. This one might be one of my least favorite. I mean, it works, but honestly, it doesn't really get horror as I would consider as more thriller stuff until, you know, they come back out of the water. And you know, your point, the ghouls. You know,
it kind of almost feels like it doesn't fit in.
Nah, it doesn't.
With the rest of the flow and the tonality of this. I mean, because of the serious nature in the first, you know, segment of this story, it's like, dude, they could have made a movie out of this, you know, just on its own if they really wanted to do that, and it had just been something completely separate. Because like you said, I mean, up until the point where they come back and they almost look comical, like you said, to the way, like, you were really only under the water for what?
Yeah, there'd be some bloat, but not.
I mean, not the like way they look.
And honestly, I don't even think you get the prune shit when you're in salt water.
I mean, I don't know, but does ocean water turn you blue?
Def can though. You might pale up and, you know, and all that. But
yeah, they just look blue.
Yeah. And then, you know, we get this, like, it's kind of weird. It looks like they turn the tides and throw him in the water with the same setup. So he's buried now, and we see the tide coming in. Then we see the comic book panels come up, which is a cool transition. I definitely do appreciate how they did that between every story with these transitions. So next up, we get an interesting one. I did like this one, dude.
This is my other favorite one.
So
I love this one.
What's the name of this one?
The Crate.
Yeah, the Crate. So we get like a college professor, and he has a wild wife.
But the way nicely, she's kind of overbearing and very mean.
But the way this one opens up is, you know, we get it's like a janitor. He's in here, and his coin rolls up under the staircase. It's dusty as hell. How do you let it get like this, man? This guy is he earning his keep?
Are you really? Yeah, I was about to say, you earn your paycheck now?
All them cobwebs, they should have been found this crate. So he finds a crate at the bottom of the staircase. It looks like it's been sitting there for a while. So he opens the little grate, and then, you know, but we kind of see him see the crate. Then it cuts away to looks like a party, you know, outside, you know, or maybe a gathering for the university, and we meet the professor.
That's another thing too, where it's, you know, throughout majority of these stories, they also show that level of classism. You know what I mean?
A little bit, yeah.
You know, there are. I mean, even with the Stephen King one, they kind of made him come off as like low level, low class, and then the first one high class, this one high class. You know?
Yeah. Well, I don't. He's
or upper class. I mean, these self-entitled like rich individuals. Yeah. Even with Leslie Nielsen, I mean,
this one's a little weird though. Like, I don't know, dude. Like everyone hates the wife, but in a way, I feel like as I'm looking at this, in hindsight, like she's a bit younger than him, dude. It almost makes you wonder, was she like a student? You know what I'm saying? That he ended up booing up and marrying, and he just, got with her for looks, but there was really no compatibility other than that. You know what I'm saying?
It looks like she's real comfortable with who she is, and like he almost is like just so reserved, just awkward. But she is really like
in another environment, she be killing it. She be the bomb. Like, yo, she's fun as shit. Let's I don't know what her name is. I forgot to look it up, but yeah, let's invite Cheryl to the party. Like she.
Oh, her name's Billy.
Oh, Billy. Okay, yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Billy.
But anyway, basically, they come to the party. She's had too much to drink. Everyone is in here is kind of really uptight. And she's had a lot to drink, and she's kind of just yucking it up. She's actually being kind of funny,
more lively.
Yeah. And these people are all
but also equally like drunk, annoying too. At the same time.
There's some of that going on. But if everybody was as lit as she was, then it'd probably be jumping in
there. Yeah. Put some music on. And start rocking.
And like you said, it's the class shit too, because these are like the upper echelon. These are people who are more reserved. The scientists, he's a zoologist. So, like I said, it just doesn't fit. And then to see this, was he just hollering at someone else, or what is this?
No, but that's the scientist. That's not the husband.
Oh, okay.
That's the friend. But the friend doesn't like her because of how she is making his friend feel. She
kind of took his friend away, because I could see them both hollering at these co-eds, and I'm telling you, it feels like that's exactly how he met her.
Ended up doing.
He just ended up marrying her. You know what I'm saying?
But it's like his homeboy is still just like living that life.
Man, he feels like.
He's like, damn, man.
Dude, look at this dude. They both kind of scummy, man. Yeah,
both of them.
I feel like the a lot of people look at her like she's the bad guy in this, but it's like, nah. And honestly, if it's that bad, get a divorce.
Maybe she just saw through him and was like, man, you know what? Like, I thought you was a certain kind of type when she was young and not, with what was going on. And she saw. I mean, he's a weak ass dude. Yeah. I mean, you see it throughout this whole thing. I mean, he don't stand up for himself in any kind of which way. In any aspect of this film. And
I will point out this. So what's interesting, little tidbits. I love this type of stuff when they mess around with things that are kind of based on reality, because the box does say expedition like 1934, and it says Arctic. So whatever's in that box, it's crazy. We don't know what's in the box yet, but the janitor calls him up and says he found this crate.
We need to open it.
We need to open it.
Let's figure out. It could be gold in there. Somehow the box just found its way under the staircase. It could have riches.
And then here's the heavy-handedness. We kind of get the vignettes that we got from the Stephen King era, where he's imagining himself killing the wife or
dude,
somehow getting rid of her.
And then everyone in the party just starts like clapping, and she's like, I feel like the man. It's like, dude, are you really that?
But in that moment, that's how he was feeling. He definitely doesn't want her around.
But then also, instead of just, I mean, this is your wife. Instead of just like having a grown-up conversation, be like, hey, look, man, you can chill out a little bit, kind of tone it down with the aggressive, meanness.
She probably has to, because he looks boring as fuck.
He does look boring as fuck.
Like I don't feel bad for her.
I don't feel bad for him.
I don't feel bad for him, dude. Like it just seems like.
But at the same time, I also wouldn't want nobody ragging on me. After somebody rags on you for so long, you're gonna say something, but he don't even say nothing.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what makes you extra whack.
It's still on him.
Dude. At some point, you gotta say, hey, look, I'm gonna need you to chill out. Turn
the
volume down on that bullshit.
Or leave, let it go.
Yeah,
obviously,
or you leave or something.
Yeah. So hold up, we got in the box here. So I think it says something about the university that they're in, but the box says expedition. I'm not trying to think of what it
is. It something like Tasmanian or something like that?
No, it says Antarctica.
It says Antarctica.
That thing's come from the snowland. That's what it was. Arctic expedition, June 19th, 1834. 1834. So
was it shipped to Horrocks University?
You know what's wild? Shipped to Horrocks University via Julia Carpenter. And think about that. John Carpenter 2 years ago, what is that? 1834. My bad. I'm thinking of 1982. But but Carpenter, this same year that this came out, what year did 82 put out the theme? So maybe that's a nod to that film, dude. like
because I mean, that's definitely a household name. I mean, I'm sure they didn't do that on accident.
Yeah. That was kind of cool. Maybe a nod to their horror buddies. And so that seems to be where this thing came from or where they found it. But it's interesting, you know, they're messing around with the box and they moving it and they hear a thump inside.
But that's the thing too. You hear a thump and you see this box is just not a regular box. I mean, it's a box that has chains and locks around it. So I mean, it looks like whatever's in there, somebody went through great lengths to keep whatever's in there. You know what I'm saying? Like this is just
but also I'm not thinking something from 1834 in there is alive. Maybe there's a machine.
Yeah,
in
until
there.
that motherfucker start knocking on the box.
Yeah.
I mean,
but maybe
gold
there's
don't knock
a
at
piece
you, bro.
maybe there's a piece of machinery in there or something. Like I wouldn't think that it was going to be a live thing like off the bat, dog. I'm sorry, man. Maybe,
bro.
You know, just being a regular dude. And just,
I don't know.
You know,
I don't know what kind of machines
it didn't even growl yet. You know, maybe something got shifted. Maybe there's a spring or something. I don't know. But I wouldn't be thinking monster, dude.
Inanimate objects don't make noise at you.
They do though. Like when you can move stuff around, things can, you know, they can move. But it didn't even growl at this point yet. That's all I'm saying. Like
you know,
they just heard a thump.
It's fucked up too, though, because like you see, like the professor, he's so intrigued, but he still lets the janitor take the charge. Yet again, like I said, there's constant subtle little like innuendos of this like this hierarchy level. Like he's like, nah, you know what, janitor? You go ahead and stand closer to it once we crack this
now right here,
open.
he's hearing different noises in there. That's not just a thump. Now there's the time to get concerned. But anyway, they get this thing open, and the janitor gets it, man. Like
the janitor gets it. Why? Because he was infiltrated.
You know what's
what I'm saying?
But they didn't
put him on the front line.
He was being he was doing too much, man. The janitor.
Yeah, he's like, that's
honestly, I'd have called this dude and told him what's what. I found this box and then took my ass home.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like he's the scientist.
I don't know what minimum wage was in the 80s, but I'm sure he ain't getting more than $8-9 an hour.
After hours, man. Get the fuck out of here.
And he's you know, he's a little long in the tooth as well. Like he looks like he's on,
like they open this shit, he cracks it open. Scientist ends up sticking his hand in here. You know what I'm saying? That's what gets me. Like him, like Davey. Well, what the fuck is going on here? Because why didn't you just totally flip the lid? Was it stuck a little?
They open it, because see that, they take the chains off and then they start like. It has to pry it open, but then like it's like soon when they pry it open, the thing jumps out and but see, that's the fucked up thing too. Is like once the janitor gets it, the scientist has the wherewithal to like just kind of like let it go crawl. It somehow crawls itself in the box.
I think the shock of it. I don't think it was wherewithal. He just was probably paralyzed. Like, yo, this motherfucker just. You know, what would you do if you never seen nothing like this in your life?
I mean, and look at this; these are great lengths. I mean, it's
nailed down.
It's nailed down. Multiple nails. It's chained. It's over 1,000 years old. You know what I'm saying?
How did they even catch it, bro?
It's got weird dust coming. I mean, when they crack it open,
it's about 100 years old.
100 years old?
Yeah. It's 18. Well, maybe 100 and what was it, 1880? Let's just say this was present day.
It was
when the film came out,
and then it's 1980. Oh,
so it's about 150, maybe 150 years old. Whatever's in here. So this thing has an 8 and 150 years. It's just wild, man. But basically, there's a creature in this box. It kind of looks like a small, what I've seen an abominable snowman looks like, you know, and the janitor sticks his hand in when he could just flip the whole lid right here, right now. Sticks his hand into the darkness, like there's something shiny in here, and then suddenly something grabs his hand.
It's that gold that likes to knock at us.
There's a crazy moment though when his hand is grabbed and he's struggling at first, and then he kind of just relaxes. You see those glowing eyes, but then his hand gets bit. And he's like, at first he's struggling.
But you see, he saw the eyes before he puts his hand in there.
Yeah.
What is wrong with you, bro?
And then the fucking, like, after a while he gets calm. It seems like something possesses him and he just relaxes. And then we get a bigger glimpse of the creature, like the head pokes out.
My man comes out of the box and like pulls him up in the box. Mm-hmm. But then like that's the part that also trips me out as well. It's like, how is it after you pull the janitor in there, you eat him in the box, whatever, fine, that's fine. How does he move the box back under the damn staircase? Like, it's like the box grows legs and shit. And
no, he moves it. He moves it himself. Oh, you mean the creature moves the box? I think the creature jumped out. Yeah, he jumps out while this guy's gone. Obviously, he had to. And then, because so basically, he sees the janitor gets eaten. He goes and grabs his boy. He's like, "Yo, something happened, Professor."
Like, come on,
janitor
looking all crazy and shit.
So, and he did move that thing pretty fast, but he ate the other dude, man. I don't know how this thing eats, but he consumed them all completely,
bone and all.
Yeah.
Yes.
And pushed the box back under.
And he must not use the bathroom either, because if he's hanging out in the box, I mean, you know.
It's a wild thing, man. But basically, this creature eats the other guy too, because that guy gets too curious. But then, my man gets the idea.
Look, and see, he finds someone in the hallway, gets him to be fooling. Let's go investigate. And the guy's like,
I can see him getting help, but I don't think he.
But he's like, then
he didn't make him fully aware of the danger either.
Exactly. He starts pushing the help towards the danger.
Yeah. And it's kind of crazy because
is that just me, or the box is back under the staircase now?
Yeah, he moved it. Yeah, you can see the blood trail. Like the creature clearly got out the box and pushed
his box back,
and then jumped back inside.
This is home.
But yeah, so we know that creature's in there, man. He eats the other guy too, which is crazy. The creature actually looks pretty cool though, man. He did a solid job on that.
He does. He kind of looks like, Attack the Block might have gotten some of their character design ideas from this creature slightly. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously it's amplified and a little more, updated. But yeah, the creature does look really, really.
Why you
cool.
ain't call the cops yet, bro?
That's what I'm saying. And that's a good effect when he bites. When he bites that neck. Yeah, overkill.
Who did the effects? This is Tom Savini work. Tom Savini.
It's possible.
I think it is. It's
possible. We had
because this is Romero's collaborator.
Okay.
So this came out the same year as I think Night of the Living, Dawn of the Dead as well.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like you said, this guy. He got it. The one he found in the hallway got it. I don't want to say got it worse than the janitor, but we get a little more descriptive visuals of what this creature is capable of doing. But what's tripping me out is this is the second person you've seen this creature kill in less than a 20-minute time. So why you look so shocked still? You know what's going on. He's like, oh, you're still killing people, evil monster beast. Motherfucker, you know what it is. You knew what it was when it sucked the janitor up. Like, come on, man.
Well, what got me though is the weird plot that develops now. So now the friend is thinking of a way to get rid of his friend's wife. Like, so basically, he's going to feed the wife to the monster. But I'm like, I don't know if I will step in, and that would be like if you told me, he's like, yo, I got to get rid of this chick. Am I going to be like, yo, how can I get rid of Bob's wife?
Yeah, and still, he still decided not to call the police. Yeah, didn't even clean nothing up. He wants to run to his homeboy's house and say, hey man, let's play some chess, have a shot, and
it does kind of fall apart a little bit right there. Like the motivations, it don't make sense to me. But then he drugs his man so he can go and set everything in motion. Leaves a note for the wife, which was weird. Like, I don't know how the fuck did he get in there to leave the note? Like, there's a lot of holes in this thing.
See, that's the thing. He is a professor. He drugs the professor. Like, he's here. Like, I want to say his name's Harry. Here's the professor talking all that shit, and instead of like just being there for his man, like if you came at me out of left field in the middle of the night, like, bro, I saw this box and all this shit's happening. The first thing that I think about is not, oh, you know what? I'm gonna have to go ahead and roofie core real quick and find somebody that I don't like so I can take them to this box.
Yeah, my bad. I read it wrong. So basically, his buddy that I read it wrong. So the guy with the wife problem. He heard about the monster.
And then he's like, you know what? I'm just going to knock my man out and let him think that he was just drunk. And now I'm going to tell Billy, my evil, wife, to come meet me at the college.
Meet me at the college because my friends.
I got something cool I want to show you.
Well, basically, he told her that he was having a problem with a girl that he was seeing, and just because she knows that's how they roll, she believes it. He says, yeah, I might need your help to come talk her out of, we're trying to keep this thing on a hush. And, and that's the thing too, because when she comes there, she's asking, or on the phone, she's like, yo, did he hurt her? Like, what's going on? And, so she comes and.
Not another thing that really trips me out is this dude, you mean to tell me that this guy, the friend, Harry, don't know how to stick up for himself. She just completely just made him look like, ant size at this party. You can't stand up for yourself in any way. But in a situation where you walk into a crime scene, a murder scene, 2 bodies and blood everywhere, you're like, oh, you know what? I can just clean this shit up like it's nothing because, I'm good at that, but I can't, tell my wife, whom I see every day, to, kind of tone down the meanness.
Well, I don't know. Maybe also too, it just, for her, it was just something different. Like, she didn't know it was bodies there. He didn't say that much.
No, he didn't say, no, but my thing is, where's his mind at? Like, you can't, you're not, like, you don't have.
Well, the whole plan is because he's going to endure all that so he can get rid of the wife. He's just trying to lure her so he can feed her to the monster.
Instead of just having a conversation.
Yeah,
he's the epitome of a weak ass dude.
Yeah, so, but anyway, it goes to a head. He does end up, bringing her through, and the monster grabs her, and then he ends up dumping the monster
in the box. Like he's like, go look under the step. Well, I don't see anything, you idiot. And then he's like, nudges her in there.
He does all that, and what ends up happening, after he kills the wife, he seals the crate back up and dumps it in a quarry. So allegedly never to be seen again. But what's interesting is that the
seal,
well, yeah,
cracks.
It cracks a little bit, and we kind of see the monster's face in the eyes. So maybe there's a chance that it will get out and come back around and circle back on this guy.
And I'm surprised because as we move forward into, like, there was a Creepshow Part 2, Part 3. I'm surprised they never revisited this story, because this is probably the most notable one. Like, everyone who references this film always talks about this one.
You could probably bring that back in the newer feature form. I also want to point out his wife's played by Adrienne Barbeau, and at the time she was a big deal. Like, she was in a lot of, like, The Fog, Cannonball Run. She was kind of a big deal in that era. I think she might have even been in maybe a police academy or something. I don't know. I can't remember.
Right. And that, not for nothing, that is just, it's really cool. Like, even though this film is older now, from the 80s, it had so much star power from the bottom to the top. Like, you look at, the directors, the writers, the actors, actresses. I mean, this was just, they got bound for greatness. You know what I mean?
They got some good people in it. And honestly, I wouldn't mind like if you readdress some of them stories again. Like I would definitely love to see them mess with that plant story again. Maybe even this one. I would leave the Nilsson joint out, honestly. And maybe even I don't know about maybe that last one.
I was about to say, moving into our next story,
I think change it into rats instead of roaches.
And this is yet again, it's just relevant kind of to the world that we live in, where people that hold this self-entitlement and think because of their financial wherewithal that it puts them above other individuals. When we move into our next story, I mean, this dude thought he was better than everyone. It's almost like it seems like he's insinuating whenever he talks about, he has like a bug problem. And every time he refers to roaches, it's like, dude, are you really talking about insects? Or are you talking about?
Yeah, I mean, it's
something. Is this one of those, what do they call it? A double entendre or something?
Yeah, they're definitely playing on that. So what's the next story?
It's actually called, let me see. Oh, they're creeping up on you.
Yeah, they're creeping up on you. So pretty much this guy seems to be, he has an apartment, that he owns. And it seems like he's just one of those guys that just hates society in general. And he's really reclusive. And like you said, he thinks he's better than everything, better than the population. Like the way he treats that delivery guy was just horrible. Like in that, when he rolls up, that was crazy.
And it seems like they also like tried to give us, slight visions of what they depicted the future to be. Because I mean, this was not a regular apartment. There were a lot of
he seemed like a germaphobe.
Futuristic elements as well.
Like the guy's clearly wealthy.
Yes.
So his apartment has some bonus features to it.
It's just like, like anyone he interacts with, it's via like the screen. So I guess maybe this was like the first iPhone. situation.
Mhm.
Like he's talking to the one
weird.
guy.
Yeah, he has a what is it called? A video phone.
Yeah.
so,
Like, whoa.
so
Find out you was FaceTiming in the 80s, man.
Yeah. This was a bit weird. I do like it. It definitely, even as a kid, it had gross out factor, but I wasn't scared, just because so many roaches. But basically his apartment has a roach infestation, and he just starts, and it gets worse and worse. At first is you could tell he's been putting up a fight for a while against him. You know what I'm saying?
But at the same time, it's like, like I said, I think this is one of those ones where it's more about the insinuation versus what's really going on. Because if you're living in this kind of, it's almost like he's living in a bubble, like some kind of science lab that just seems like secluded from everything else. And it's wild because like he has all these like air vent things, like almost like that thing that you know.
He's a germaphobe, meaning like he doesn't want to get like the mask, the way everything is covered in
trash can, bro. He drops the thing and it like sucks it in air.
Yeah.
Like the thing at the bank.
He's got gloves on. Everything he's doing, like he just thinks the rest of the world is filthy, and he's got this, which is crazy because he's got this roach problem, and all this money he's paying, he can't keep them out.
And not for nothing, the damn house looks spotless. Like it's like, where are they coming from?
How he even washes his hands, dude? It's almost like he's a doctor, but he's not even doing surgery. He's just living in his house, and he's taking such crazy health precautions, man.
Yeah, look at his his chilling area looks like the damn Star Trek, fucking
for
motherboard.
For 82, his shit was futuristic and laid out, dude. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
It's crazy, but the crazy thing is, so the roach infestation goes on, but like you said, man, the character stuff, it definitely tells you about what he is, and he's calling a superintendent, complaining about the roaches, all this money that I pay here, and like, why don't you just move and build your house somewhere out in the cut? But I don't know what his thing is, but clearly he's wealthy. They show him checking the stock market earlier, so that seems to be how he made his money.
Definitely,
but he's just a rotten dude. Yeah, he keeps looking at the stock ticker on his screen.
Yeah, so he's got his but and that's the thing too, because like even though like he is rotten and you see this sense of self-entitlement, but he's also so alone. Like he don't care. All he cares about is money. He kind of comes off to me as like a different version of like Scrooge from like the Christmas Carol or something. You know what I mean? He just looks like he don't give no F's about nobody or nothing outside of himself and whatever it is he has his hands in, whatever cookie jars he's sifting through, and that's just it. And
them bugs just keep coming there and everything, and it gets worse toward as it goes along, until we finally get to that conclusion where they are just coming out. I can't remember if something happens to his money, even because there's a constant report, because he's talking to family members, his kids, but he even seems like he doesn't even want to deal with them. Like, and honestly, it'll probably be because he probably feels like they're dirty too, or they'll bring germs to his house and shit, man. And he's kind of seems like he's also gave them opportunities in his companies or whatever he's doing, and he's holding that over their heads, man. He's he's like, oh, you like, that cushy life you're living.
Yeah,
he's such a rotten individual, dude.
And it's wild because you got that better than thou attitude from the father figure in the first film, but he didn't even seem as rotten as this guy. Like, this guy just seems like he sits up in like the penthouse and just looks down on everyone because he thinks he's a better than
meanwhile,
everyone.
I'm looking at the paint under his cabinets. That shit is terrible. Like it's just like it's almost like I don't know why he chooses to live in this place. He could definitely probably afford a much better locale, but maybe it's something where I've always been here, so fuck it, and this,
and not for nothing, that scene right there where he pours out the cereal, it made, I saw this at such a young age. It made me, I looked at Sugar Smacks different ever since. I'm like, dog, one of them could get in there, and I don't know. They look, one of them could sneak through, sneak under the radar, man. I don't know.
Yeah, but he's terrible. But so eventually, what happens, man? The roach infestation gets worse and worse to the point where, this probably has one of the best finales, and it probably makes sense for them to end this thing with this one. and they just swarm and take over everything, dude. It's amazing.
Disgusting. I mean, it feels like you don't feel bad for him, but my gosh, like the only other film that I remember seeing around this time that gave me that same creepy, bugged out, gross feeling was when Indiana Jones and the chick were crawling through scene, that, dude. You know, all the centipedes. But I mean, this does the same thing. But you know, another thing that kind of trips me out is like, it kind of makes me wonder, like, was this really happening? Because after all is said and done, I mean, dude, the bugs, I mean, pretty much like he falls in the shower or something. I mean, they fill up, he suffocates from the bugs. But then by the time the next morning happens, they're all gone.
No, they're not gone completely. Don't they come out of his body at the end?
They come out of his body, but I mean, like, but as far as like,
I mean, for the movie,
in the building, like they're pretty much all gone. So
so you saying the roaches didn't really happen? It's just all in his head.
Is it in his head? Like, did he really?
Nah, I think it happened in there just because of this thing is what it is, and like you said, the shot of them coming out of his body. I think that definitely happened. You know, at least in this movie, you know, world, yeah.
And I mean, and I know with this being a more, like I said, lighthearted, more campy and stuff, but like every time I watch this one, I always try to watch it like in really. This is the only one that I watch and I really overanalyze because I feel like there's hidden messages all through this thing, and it's something bigger than what's on the surface. Yeah. You know what I mean?
You might be putting a little awareness on it. I just think it's just straight up. You know, I think the metaphor is in his character and how he treats it, his point of view of the world. I think that's you know where the metaphor is at on this one, but. Interesting thing, man. I remember going to the Smithsonian years ago, and they used to have this exhibit where it was a room, and dude, there was like easily 100,000 roaches in there. They were fake, but they were set up to look like this scene, the final scene in this apartment, when they're just, and you would just look at it and just be like whoa, like how long did it take someone to lay that out? They were just mad.
And see, so that's the thing, like. It's not just roaches. I was just watching there's a lot of other bugs that are coming. Like,
well, they're different size roaches.
They look like some beetles.
Some of them are like the Madagascar big roaches and the German cockroaches, which are the little ones, and then the hissing cockroaches that some people keep as pets. They're like really big.
What?
Got like a centipede body.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, people keep them as pets, or they use them, or they also breed them to feed to like pet lizards and shit like that. You know.
Hey, this is a judgment-free zone. I know. I don't like bugs touching me, so I didn't know people kept roaches as pets. But hey, more power to you.
Yeah, even those little white joints that I've seen those in pet stores, man. Like, yeah, people like bugs. This is a weird thing.
Hey, to each his own.
But it does have a really crazy, like even there, like the way they set them up, those bigger bugs.
And he goes into his shower, which is like almost like, or that little room. You see, it was airlocked. You hear it is like. Like, he has to punch a code.
Bugs got it, dude. They got it. They're in there. His shit wasn't tight enough, dude.
And it's just so sad because the bugs fucked his jukebox up. I bet that jukebox might have been worth something later on.
Can't take it with you.
That's true.
But I did like the thing at the end when they crawl all out of him. They did a pretty cool job.
He's busting through his chest. And dude, not for nothing, even though you can tell that that's a dummy, those effects though, I mean, I like it though.
It adds to the creepy vibe, man.
It does.
It's a great conclusion, man. So I think this is a great film, man. It's it definitely does come with a block of cheese, but it is what it is, man. It's definitely trying to entertain you in the most lighthearted way, I guess, with horror, versus trying to, give you that sinister, like icky feel when you're done, even though the roach scene was kind of creepy.
And ultimately, for that last one, I mean, bugs are kind of creepy as a whole. Like there are, a lot of individuals that are just kind of grossed out and creeped out by bugs. So I think just by that being the vocal point, whatever little metaphors or this, that, or whatever, we can look into that, any which way. But bugs are creepy, you know what I'm saying? Spiders are creepy, and things, bats, things like that.
Yeah.
So I think that they hit the nail on the head with just, especially that last scene when it seemed like almost 3 feet deep of just a small river of roaches.
Yeah, but it's good, man. It works overall, man. It's a solid film, and like I said, the to bookend it with this other scene at the prologue with Tom Savini there and the other guy looking over the book that got thrown out the window, and they're just having fun with it. I think that's what I think mostly was the point of this film, man. It's definitely couched in horror, but it's meant to be funny and more funny than scary.
It is funny. Look, my man sees the voodoo doll. He's like, "Oh man, look at this comic book." Mm-hmm. Oh, well, that coupon's cut out. The one for the voodoo doll. Yeah, that's funny, you see like the little kid up there. He's like his voodoo doll just came in. He's like, "Yeah, fuck you, dad." What I'm saying? So it's kind of like you said. It adds to the lighthearted nature, and with this, it always with each one of these stories, it almost kind of always gives you somebody to kind of root for in a sense.
Isn't it weird that she's ironing clothes and throwing them in a clothes basket?
That is, but yeah. What's the point in that?
Yeah, that is wild. But yeah, the son's getting revenge against the dad. He's gonna kill him, man.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he put the needle right in the throat. He's like, I
don't need a father.
He didn't take it easy on. He didn't jab his hand or nothing. Like, man, you keep hitting me, I'm gonna jab your hand. No, he's like, man, I'm going straight for your throat.
Trade you in for a step.
He's a little pit bull, yeah.
And even is funny, man. The darkness that ends on and the humor. And yeah, I mean, it's solid, man. I guess we could wrap this thing up, man. I would recommend seeing it if you haven't seen it, especially now. It's fun to watch, and this is the one I think it's going to play better if you got a couple people sitting around with you just to crack jokes and just absorb soaking the cheesiness of it.
It's definitely Halloween popcorn. Just have fun, have fun with it. Don't expect much. It's not gonna it's not going to give you the same elements as a Nightmare on Elm Street or other horror franchises. Just have fun with it.
Yeah, that's it, man. So this has been another Classics of Cinematics. Subscribe to the channel, and you can catch me at Monkey Blood on Twitter, Instagram. Follow the podcast at FromTheCanopy, and on Twitter, and at FromTheCanopy on Instagram. You can email us from thecanopypod at gmail.com.
This is Bobby Blockbuster. You can catch me at Instagram at Bobby Blockbuster 118. One day I'm gonna get used to saying that shit. It's better than giving my damn phone number out. That's
all right, y'all. We out of here. Peace.